Hey, what's up? This is Chris from the Longest Way, and yeah, it's snowing here more than yesterday, so that's good. And we're out in the woods pretty early too, so that's good too. And I'm in a slightly better mood than yesterday for some reason, so that's good too. And I'm taking pictures. So yeah, it's not the worst day. It's Sunday too, and the computer is working on something, and I've made some progress on the stabilization issue on my After Effects that I'm trying to use. So yeah, I can't complain. And I've been eating cookies too, so. Somebody remarked, you really like cookies? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, who doesn't like cookies? Yeah, but overall, I'm pessimistic. We're still in the Trump nightmare. Wait. The fucking imbecile is still up there trying to install his own version of dictatorship. And I'm not just saying that as hyperbole, it's true. Fucking reminds me of China so much. You know, his attack on the courts, his attacks on the media, especially the media. It's like China had a campaign against CNN 10 years ago, almost exactly 10 years ago, when, I don't know if you remember, but there were these riots in Tibet, and CNN was covering them, but they used one picture that was from Nepal. So the Communist Party, with all their different media outlets, you know, they have official media, and then they have people in media that is supposed to be private, but it really isn't. They were using them. And they were using like these online groups, like AstroTurf groups, like, you know, you're like, oh, so these are just regular people. No, not necessarily. It's fucking Communist Party China, you know. So they were using all these outlets to attack CNN. And one of them was called Anti-CNN, actually, AC. That's what they call them, the AC Dong, the AC Party. And they would just go, yeah, but look at the picture is wrong. So they have an agenda, and they're like smearing us, and they're lying, and it's all fake, and it's fake. And they wouldn't use the word fake news because it didn't exist at the time, but it was exactly the fucking same as what Trump is doing right now. Just like, you just use one picture, like just yesterday or today, some reporter from the Washington Post, I think it was from the Washington Post or CNN or whatever, but like one dude, he posted a picture of Trump's campaign rally, and it was like before Trump actually spoke, so like the crowd was still small, not everybody was in there, and he posted it, and he said like, oh, look at the crowd size, like it's not as big as blah blah. And obviously the picture is misleading, because like a half hour later or something, Trump would be on stage as fucking president of the United States, you know. And of course, as a president, he would be able to fill a fucking basketball court. You know, it's not a huge stadium, it's just like a basketball court of people. And so the picture was misleading, or rather the caption that this reporter put on his Twitter was misleading, and Trump calls him out personally, like using his Twitter handle, and says like, look, fake news, look, and it's like all fake. And then he calls him out and tells him to apologize, and the dude apologizes. And then after that, Trump, you know, because he's like a dog who has like, I don't know, tasted blood or something. He goes, well, now they should fire the guy. I mean, what the fuck? Hello? So yeah, it's a huge shit show. And it's exactly as the same as the shit that I watched it happen in China before. And they're fucking happy. All sorts of dictatorships are fucking happy with the American president going after his own media. You know, like American free media. They're free media. Fucking, they're not like, you know, like the difference between government media and free media is like, say, the Chinese Xinhua or People's Daily or whatever they have. I don't know what it's called now. The TV station used to be called CCTV and they changed it to something CGNT or whatever. Those are government media. They are controlled by the Communist Party. And if you have ever been there, I've been in those media. If you go, the whole place is surrounded by military, like military, and they have guards at the doors that are like paramilitary, and they have barracks, like they have actual units in there, because that's government media, and the government knows, the Chinese Communist Party, they know if they lose that media, then they've lost the country. Because, you know, if somebody were to take over those media and say, oh, so now the rule of the Communist Party is over, then that would mean this truth that they put out there over government channels would become the truth. It would become like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You just say it happened and then it does happen. That's fucking state media. But fucking CNN, MSNBC, Fox, whatever, they're not state media. They're just private media companies, you know, and they're basically trying to sell a product, which is news coverage and their comments and photos and video and articles and whatever. But yeah, Trump personally going after reporters. Oh, here's my I made this here. I made this. That's my name in Chinese. 雷克. These are not me. Yeah, Trump going after them. It just reminds me so much of the shit that the Communist Party's been pulling over the last decades. And I remember talking to a Chinese official. Well, let me clean the lens here. I remember talking to this Chinese official maybe 5 years ago, and he says, well, look, the Chinese people, they're not idiots. They know that much of what's on our media, and he's talking about the, you know, Chinese media, they know that it's misleading, wrong, fake, and designed to serve a purpose. And I'm like, well, you know, that's nice that they know. So he's like, well, that's why they don't trust it, really. It's like, because they know, so they're just kind of, they look at it and whatever, and then they kind of take it with a grain of salt. And then he says, but you know what's weird? And I say, what? And he says, well, it's weird that, like, Germans, they trust their media. They think just because something has been written somewhere, in like a newspaper or like in a magazine or whatever, that must mean it's true, because they trust the media. And I'm like, huh, interesting thought. And I was thinking, yeah, actually that is weird, and it's actually a little bit disconcerting, because people shouldn't just trust whatever they read. Like, just because it's written somewhere doesn't mean it's true, and there could be errors, there could be, you know, like faulty coverage or whatever. So everything you read from whatever news source, you should always, you know, use your brain and think about it. But that's how I got it. And now 5 years later, here we are, and I'm thinking, I didn't get it at the time. That's not what he meant. What he meant was that people should have absolute distrust. You know, disinformation doesn't mean that everybody's supposed to believe what the dictator says. That's not how it works. Disinformation means that you are not supposed to believe what the people who are opposed to the dictator what they say. Like, say the Communist Party says the sky is blue in Beijing, and then I don't know, somebody on the internet makes a blog post or whatever, or a tweet, and he tweets like a gray sky with clouds or whatever, and then you look at it and you're like, well, what the Communist Party says might be wrong because they use propaganda, and it might be misleading, it might be fake, but I can't trust that guy either, and I can't trust CNN either because they're fake, and I can't trust MSNBC either, or the Washington Post or New York Times or Fox or whoever, because it's all the same, it's all equally fake. That's what they wanted, and that's what they got with a large part of the population that consider themselves like thinkers or smart or red-pilled, fucking red-pilled. Everybody who uses the term red-pilled is a fucking idiot. But they don't trust anybody anymore. To them, fucking Alex Jones is equally credible as CNN. That's what they wanted. That's disinformation. Where because CNN reporter makes a small mistake, the small mistake gets blown out of proportion, so suddenly he's equally not credible as Alex Jones, who's been saying fucking Sandy Hook is a false flag operation. You know, it didn't fucking happen, or it happened, but it was orchestrated by I don't know, the anti-gun lobby. I mean, what the fuck? Those kids didn't really die, and Alex Jones, who thinks there's such a thing as chemtrails and they make frogs homosexual. I mean, you know, that's what they wanted. Fucking despicable. And Donald Trump about, you know, going after a reporter personally. That's Communist Party style. But the difference is that the Communist Party of China, Xi Jinping, and his minions, and his huge apparatus of just people that are just yes men, you know, because it's eliminated all or most of people that might say no or might correct him. Xi Jinping doesn't need to be like Trump. Xi Jinping, when you compare him to Trump, has a little bit more class because he doesn't need to use a Twitter, a personal account, to go after people. He can just use his minions. Like, he has a huge apparatus and a bunch of different media, and then he can just make people physically disappear. Imagine being that reporter who made that tweet under the Chinese Communist Party. They would just make him fucking disappear. That's something that Trump cannot do yet, but he's trying. He's fucking trying. And yeah, that's making me pessimistic out here in the snow, walking the dog. But it's a good day. And fucking Trump is far, and our boring place here is looking better and better compared to the shit show that's going on over there. Alright, people, I'm gonna cut it short here. Or do you want to go through the tunnel? We can go through the tunnel. Why not? I wonder if the footage is shaky at all. That's what I'm concerned about. Like the camera, because I got it attached to my head, and I'm wondering, like, does it shake? Does the stabilization work? I read up on the Hero 6 on the GoPro today, and it seems as though it has a stabilization that works pretty well, but it's digital, and I prefer optical. And plus, it seems as though GoPro, as always, in the last 5 or 6 or 7 years, they disrespect their customers to a degree that is just sad, where they figure, oh, it's Christmas soon, so let's put out the new camera even though it's not ready yet. A lot of people have been posting complaints. Did I get it? Is it good now? Yeah. Was guckst du denn? Hm? Was guckst du denn? Hm? Kleines Viech. Hier. Alright. Have a good day. Dudettes and dudes. We're out of the tunnel.